Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of the Scots Sports Show. I am your host, Tyler Trumbauer. We will begin this week by hitting the hardwood and talking a little women's hoops, as I am now joined by Mike Fenner, the WFSE sports director, and Stan Swank, the head women's basketball coach here at Edinboro University. How is everyone?
Doing great.
Great.
Great to hear, guys. Coach, coming off such an amazing season last year that included an appearance in the Elite Eight round of the NCAA tournament, what are your expectations and thoughts coming into this season? They got to be altered from last year's performance.
Well, every year you try and get better, and that's the next step is we want to try and get better. And we want to go to the Elite Eight. Now we want to see if we can win another game there and maybe win two. And if you win three, you win the national championship. And so I think if you're a player or a coach and you get ready for a season, if you don't look at trying to win the national championship, then I think you're kind of wasting your time putting on uniforms and getting ready. We have really high expectations. We want to do the best that we can possibly do and be successful at it.
How important is it to return such a strong and experienced nucleus, and how big of a luxury is that going into this season, knowing a lot of girls already have so much experience on the floor?
Well, it makes it a lot easier from our standpoint as far as coaching and being able to just incorporate new things. We can add some new things pretty quick. And because they understand what we're trying to do philosophically, and they understand what we want to accomplish, and so they've got the basics, and so now we can add in some things for it.
Mike talked about the nucleus returning of players, but we have some others coming on here. We have Darche leaving, but you got some others that are coming in, like Anastasia. Add some size, a presence underneath the basket. Personnel-wise, what are your thoughts on the team this year?
Well, I think we have a really nice mix. We needed to get some new players in and some new blood and some young players for the future, and I think we accomplished that. And I think Anastasia fills a role that we needed really bad. We felt like when we were in the NCAA, they had two really big kids, strong inside, and that's what we wanted to do was get another really strong inside player. And what we went with Anastasia was, because she's so tall, with being 6'6", we wanted to go with her because we thought she would have an immediate impact. And she only has 1 year. She's a transfer from West Georgia, and she has 1 year, and we thought she could fill that void. At the same time, we wanted to have some new players come in, and we accomplished that, I think, with some of the new and the younger kids that we got in. And I feel like there's a really great mesh right now. They're getting along well together, they're working well together, and we're still working on roles, but we're kind of filling into that.
One thing is that you're without returning All-American Val Majeski right now, who's dealing with an injury early on in the season. Does that, obviously not having that presence and her production on the court is going to hurt the team, but do you feel that maybe that's going to help it a little bit with maybe how other teams are going to approach you guys, and thinking that they can maybe overlook some aspects of your team without Val?
Well, I'm not so sure about that aspect. I think what it does is it gives us maybe a blessing in disguise, because it allows other people to get a lot of minutes in practice and increase our depth. And and from that standpoint, I think it's been helpful. As far as preparing for us, I think you have to look at our team anyways, just and break them down and prepare for us as we prepare for other teams. But I think it can be a blessing in disguise, because I think it's going to help get some of our younger players, more time on the court, and it's going to look at our rotation a little bit. And I think when she comes back, it just makes our depth that much better.
Talking about last year's run within the PSAC alone, defeating Gannon 4 times, claiming the tournament championship, and then defeating Bloomsburg in the Sweet 16, kind of carrying the torch for the conference, really. What does that do for this year's team in terms of knowing you can navigate your way through such a competitive division and conference as a whole in the PSAC?
Well, the PSAC is extremely difficult. Every night you got to play. And I think that this year the teams that were weaker last year are much better. And so you definitely this year cannot take a night off. You have to come to play every night. And I think that's one of the main things, and one of the things that we did last year is it becomes such a long season, and it's such a journey that we just looked. We did a very good job, I think, from a coaching standpoint with Coach Wheeler and myself of just navigating each game and focusing on that game and not looking ahead 2 games or 3 games and what if this happens and so forth. I think we really established for our team a pattern of we're just going to look at the game we're playing, and that's what we're going to focus on. And I think that's worked very well for us.
Just every night, just hopefully be 1-0 by the end of the night.
Exactly.
And just those will add up. But right now you're 2-0 in the season, Coach.
Right.
What are your initial thoughts from those first 2 games of the season, which turned out victorious for your squad?
Well, I was real impressed with how we played. I thought we did a lot of great things. I was surprised that I thought we did some great things defensively, and these 2 teams were very quick, and I was very concerned about that, and we just did a great job with that defensively. We had some lapses and some things that we need to work on, but overall, we held them down pretty well, and I was excited about that. I was excited that some people stepped up. Hope stepped up and had a great weekend. I thought we had a nice balanced attack. We were going inside-outside, and Anastasia had a good game on Sunday. And so I think there's a lot to work from that, and we see things that we need to work on and improve on. But overall, really enjoyed what we saw.
Coach, you obviously do take it 1 game at a time, but 2 games into the season with non-conference wins, you now stand at 495 for your career, 5 wins away from 500 in your coaching career. Just reflecting back on that, how special of a moment will that be for you when you get to that 500?
I think that's it's kind of a benchmark of the players and what great players we've had, and a testimony to all the kids that have come through and played and had great careers and over the years and the success we've had. I'm very fortunate and very lucky to be here at Edinboro and to have had such great players and talent and people that have been successful, and that's nice. That's a good thing.
Building off Mike's question a little bit, he talked about nearing the 500 win milestone in your coaching career. A lot of those have come at Edinboro. What's it been like to build the program here for the Fighting Scots? You're taking the Edinboro women's basketball team and just put it on a national stage. I mean, they're known. You faced Cal Poly in the Elite Eight last year. So from nation, each side of the nation, they know Edinboro Fighting Scots women's basketball. What's it like being able to build that up to what it is now?
Well, it's a really nice situation. It's taken a lot of work from a lot of players, and it's great to have that reputation and to walk into like this past weekend we walked in the game and I think it adds points because people are immediately, we're playing Edinboro, and they know that they've got a challenge in front of them and that they're going to have to play a really good team. And I think it builds confidence for our players and allows our players to be successful. I think that having played on a great team, it helps them after college. When they go on into jobs, they understand teamwork, they understand working within a group situation, and I think they understand goals and attaining goals. And I think when they put on the resume that they were in an Elite Eight team and they were a top team and they were a part of that has great impact for them. So I think that helps all the way around, both athletically and after school.
Great years at Edinboro, and hopefully this one could be even better for the Fighting Scots. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
We hope so. It's great being with you guys.
Appreciate it. After the break, we will continue talking Boro hoops as guard Hope Mancini joins Mike and I next. Edinboro guard Hope Mancini, who is in her graduate season, joins Mike and I now on the show. Hope, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Now, you were a part of last year's team. Unfortunately, an injury sidelined you for a good portion of the season. So you kind of got an interesting aspect on that magical year last year for the women's basketball team. From your eyes, how was last season?
It was very exciting, and we're hoping that we could be just as successful this year, if not more.
So now, individually for you, coming off of that injury, what is your mindset? Obviously, rehabilitation during the season and the off season. Where are you physically and mentally coming into this season?
Well, I'm just hoping not to get hurt I get taped and I wear braces, so I just have to work on not getting hurt. This is my last year, so I want to stay healthy to play.
With seeing how much success you guys had as a team, was it frustrating, and how frustrating was it for you with that, dealing with that injury, and how difficult was it for you initially?
It was very frustrating. Just because we were winning, and I just wanted to be a part of it. But I still wasn't included in everything, so I think that helped. I felt like I was a part of it.
From an outside perspective, what do you think made the team so successful last year? You saw it almost from a coach's perspective, not really playing in it. What do you feel was the real key to making an Elite Eight appearance last season?
Well, we had great chemistry. Everyone played well together, and I think that was like the main thing, that we had great team chemistry.
And you return a cluster of those players that had great chemistry from last season, and you had 2 games under your belt thus far with that cluster, and yourself returning now with braces and bandages and all. And in the first 2 games, a great showing coming off the injury with 26 points in the opener, your second highest career total in the game, following it up with 14, leading the Scots again on the Sunday's win. 2 wins, 2 good performances by you, earned you Scot of the Week this week for Edinboro University. What are your thoughts on your opening season performance?
Well, I thought in both games we all played great together, and I know in the second game I think there was 5 of us in double figures, and everyone got to play, and I think that just shows how great team chemistry we have.
How important is it to have that balance? You had that game with 5 double-figure scores, not having your leading scorer with Val Majeski currently sidelined. How important was that to get everyone involved and have that balance?
I think it's really important because it just gives everyone confidence. I think confidence is very important, because we're going to need everyone for the whole season.
So Mike alluded to it, without Val, one of the leaders on the court and on the team overall. But that's really not stopping you ladies thus far. 2 wins in 2 games, as I mentioned before. How harder does that make it? Is that just really it's the next girl in line, everyone step up their game a little bit to fill that void that Val leaves on the court?
Yeah, well, I just think that just shows how good we are. We're 2-0 and we don't even have our best player yet.
A returning All-American as well, yeah.
So when she comes back, we're gonna be even better.
What do you feel is going to need to happen when you get Val back, when you're at full strength? What is going to need to be the key to success for this season? Is it going to be repeating that chemistry? And if so, what else maybe as well?
I think that we have to work on not turning the ball over as much, myself especially. But I think that once we work on that, I think we have great chemistry. I think that everyone gets along on this team, which is really important. I think that I know one of our goals is to go back to the Elite Eight, and I think we have a really good shot of doing it.
With how well Lauren Hippo excelled last year in that same kind of role that you play with perimeter shooting, how dangerous of a duo could you be, and as a team really shooting from the 3-point line with yourself and then Hippo?
Well, I think that we get that because Ani gets so much attention, so they can't stop Ani inside and us shooting, so they have to pick your poison basically, because Ani is so strong inside.
How difficult will it be for teams to match up now with not only Anya Freeland but with Anastasia down on the block, a lot of size on that front court? How difficult is it going to be for teams to match up against you guys?
Very hard. And Nicole Johnson's pretty good too. She's a great rebounder. We have a lot of great forwards, and I think that we're definitely even for other teams match our problems. I think that people are going to have to play zone, but then we have shooters. Laurel can shoot too, and then when Val comes back, so I don't know it's going to be hard for other teams to match up with us.
You're definitely going to be a formidable team this season, just like you were last year. You talked about earlier on, Hope, that this is your graduate season. Number one goal is to stay on the court and stay out of the trainer's room.
Yeah.
But what would you like to accomplish this season individually or maybe from a team aspect?
Well, I definitely want to make it to the Elite Eight. I think that I want to definitely be a part of that. I think that's my goal, to make it to the Elite Eight.
Let's see if it happens. And the ladies are off to a pretty solid start with 2 wins in 2 games. So thanks, Hope. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Good luck as the season goes along. You can hear all Edinboro women's and men's basketball games on WFSE Fighting Scots Radio with Mike on the play-by-play and yours truly on the color commentary. Mike, I believe it's like negative something degrees it feels like right now. You want to go take a dip in the pool?
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right.
I'm fortunate that we've transitioned from football to basketball, I think, now.
Well, despite the cold weathers, we're going to talk to some people that spend the entire winter in and around the pool after the break. I'm now joined by head swim coach Chris Rhodes and swimmer Tony Romanini. Guys, how are we doing?
Excellent.
Doing very well.
That's good to hear, and thanks for joining me. Coach, it's early part of the season, a lot of success team-wise, picking up some early wins. Just had a split decision with Allegheny College on Friday in Meadville with close results both for the men's and the women's. What were your early thoughts to this season as far as meets with other teams?
Well, we're a young team, so the first part of the season is just trying to figure some things out. We lost a lot of really high-quality seniors last year and brought in some really good, new student athletes. Looking for them to fill some spots, and I think we're on the road to where we're going to be successful.
Talk about building and some young teams. The women's team had a lot of success last season, and you're looking to build on that with the returning likes of Stacy Streckengoss and Holly Stein. For the men's team, though, that Tony's a part of, we talked in the preseason, you said you kind of expanded the roster a little bit, looking to revamp that team. How has the growth of the men's team been thus far?
Excellent, and I think you can see that in our results. For the nice thing about swimming is, we don't really have to focus our success on the wins and losses and that type of thing. As an individual sport, each individual can be very successful, and when that happens, the team is successful. And I think if you look at the individuals so far, we're racing well, we're training hard, and I think that we're going to do really well.
And Tony, for you, you're a member of that men's swim team here at Edinboro. What have your thoughts been early on, kind of maybe from a team aspect, and then also individually, how do you feel you've done?
As a team, I think the young guys, like Coach had said, have really done their part in stepping up and coming away with some really big wins early in the season and just getting out there and racing and really getting everybody excited about what the rest of the season has in store. For me, it's been a little tough this beginning part of the season. I just had a surgery, and so I'm getting back into it, but I'm looking forward to getting back to PSACs and trying to get another win for Edinboro.
Coach, you mentioned that this is an individual sport, so you look at the team results, but you focus a little bit more on the individual ones. Individually, who has kind of stepped up, maybe surprised you a little bit in the first few meets this season?
You mentioned Stacy and Holly. They've done a really great job, as expected. We've had a couple other girls really do well and come into their own. Charlotte Droz has already qualified for the conference meet, and that's exciting. Some of the freshmen have done well, hit times that they hit last year when they were tapered. So. That's the exciting thing. On the guys' side, Josh Beabout, he's our returning record holder in the 500, and he's doing extremely well. Ryan Fromholzer, he's swimming really well right now for this part of the season, and that's the exciting thing is just being able to see some success early that I think is going to translate into some better success as the season goes on.
Your teams were busy early on in the season when you had to go to Spire Open, and then you came back. You had a few teams. You had Bloom come in, then you had Allegheny just a week later, and now you got a nice 4 or 5 week stretch here where it's time to rest, relax, maybe kind of just rejuvenate the team a little bit before going to the 3-day event that is the Worcester Invitational. What is your mindset as the coach going into these next few weeks leading up to that, which is one of the biggest events of the season?
We need to fine-tune. We've spent the first part of the season kind of getting ready, and now we just need to fine-tune strokes, talk about race strategies, really just get mentally prepared. Physically, I think we're ready. They've done a great job challenging themselves day in and day out in the pool and in the weight room, and now it's time to get mentally ready to swim well. And that's kind of what these next couple weeks will allow us to do.
Tony, I know that you're just coming off surgery, so this year's 4-week span going in the Woosters is going to be a little bit different for you, but you have that experience from high school and from college years of going through these parts of the season. What does a swimmer need to do to fine-tune things, get themselves mentally ready, as Coach is talking about, as well as keeping up with their physical aspect as well?
I think as far as fine-tuning in the mental game goes, you got to just really be consciously aware of everything you're doing while you're in the water. That's good starts, good turns, making sure your breathing patterns coming along right. I think there's a lot of things you can do outside of the pool as well, like we do some relaxation, some visualization stuff where you lay down, think about your race, and that really helps when it comes time to get behind the blocks and go, and you know that you're mentally sound and you've trained all year, so you're physically ready to go.
Coach, we got the Worcester Invitational, a few more meets after that, and then is coming into the crunch time. Then you got the PSACs and Nationals. Just keep on going there as you climb the ladder with the season. As a head coach, what do you kind of instill in your swimmers and tell them going into that home stretch of the season?
You know, we kind of just break the season down into the two segments. So right now we're not really focused on the conference meet. We're not really focused on nationals. We're focused on the next meet and preparing ourselves for that. If we do a really good job there, that everything else will kind of fall into place. Next semester, then, our focus will be the conference meet and then getting people to nationals. So kind of just taking it one meet at a time.
One meet at a time will eventually get us there, guys, and hopefully it leads up and we can send a lot of swimmers to the conference and the national meet and get Edinboro's name out there on the swimming landscape, guys. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, and good luck, as I said, as the season goes along. I might stop by. The pool is normally the warmest spot on campus.
Absolutely.
After the break, we will hear from the male Scot of the Week and take a look at the upcoming athletic schedule. Along with Hope, wrestler Mitchell Port received Scot of the Week honors as the redshirt-senior went undefeated at the EMU duels on Saturday to help Edinboro earn 3 wins, sweeping the day. I caught up with him earlier this week in the wrestling office. Here is a portion of that interview. All right, Mitchell, so a great start to the season, undefeated as of right now. How do you feel through the first few weeks of competition this season?
I feel pretty good so far. Still got some work to do. It's a good thing that we're still coming out on top in the matches and stuff. And lots of improvement to be made. So.
For you individually, you got Scot of the Week this week for going undefeated at the EMU duels, as the team did as well, earning 3 victories. What's it like to be able to go into such a vicious day facing 3 big teams, including an 8th-ranked Michigan team, and not only get 3 team victories, but get multiple individual victories as well?
I think it's good for the team and for myself. I know a lot of our other guys had a lot of great matches as well as I did. So it's neat to be put on a level that all of us have competed there, and all of us have kind of done what we needed to do for what we needed to.
You've gotten pins, you've got decisions, you've had it all so far through the first few weeks. What has been your biggest battle early on? And maybe is it dealing with the weight or just getting back into the competition mode? What has it been that's been your toughest struggle thus far?
I think focusing on scoring points early, and I just let myself wrestle. Just mainly that.
What's something that you're really positive with right now? Something that has kind of been the key to getting 9 victories and boosting your career record to 105 wins so far?
Staying focused on winning, I think, is really kept me on track, and kind of not letting little things hold me back early on in the matches.
Now, you just came back from that long travel to Michigan, and you got Cleveland State coming in early next month. Then you have Clarion a little bit after that, so 2 home matches coming up against some local teams. What's kind of your individual goals for going into that, obviously, other than getting wins? Is there something you want to improve on to say, if I accomplish this by the midway point of December, I'll be happy with how I am as a wrestler?
Yeah, we have 2 weeks off, I think, right now, or maybe a little bit more or less than that. But just first period scores, racking up more points, that really leads into where I'm better at. Whenever I get more motion, more points scored, I really open up and can wrestle the way I like to.
Being such a high-ranked wrestler in your weight class, it's no secret that your goal is to get the national championship. You voiced it yourself as well. Do you feel you're on course right now to put yourself in a good spot to earn that, or do you feel there's something that you need to do yet to get onto that course?
I think that we're preparing the right way. Everything hopefully will line up, and at the time that it comes that I need to be ready for it, I'll be ready.
Congrats to Mitchell and Hope once again for being named this week's Scots of the Week. Now let's take a look at what will be unfolding this week and for Edinboro athletics. The wheelchair basketball team is in action at the Wisconsin Whitewater Tournament starting on Friday and continuing on Saturday. The cross-country teams are at the Atlantic Regional at Slippery Rock, and our first home basketball doubleheader of the season is on Saturday afternoon as the California-Pennsylvania Vulcans come to Macomb Fieldhouse, with the women tipping off at 1, with the men to follow. Be sure to get out and support Edinboro student athletes this weekend. That's all the show we have for this week. Thanks for watching, and go Borough.